Right then, one area that I think Manchester United can improve in 2022 is our set pieces. Eric Ramsay was appointed at the start of the season to be Manchester United's set piece coach, and we all had a little high hope in there in terms of what might we see. We might see a little bit more imagination. We might see a little bit more of a percentage increase about what Manchester United are going to do. We might see United actually beating the first man from an attacking corner. We might look like we know how to effectively defend. Having a specialist coaching, the guy who's there just to deal with set pieces, he ain't got to worry about how to break a low block. He's not got to deal with counterattacks. What do? Throw-ins. I do corners. I do free kicks, both attacking and defending. That's what I do. And you might even get penalties come underneath that. He might be a guy that has to come up with a bit of a strategy for penalty shootouts, that sort of thing. But either way, one guy to be the set-piece guy, you'd think someone's able to deliver something in that sort of sense, wouldn't you? Right? I'll put it to you, Eric Ramsay has completely and utterly failed in his job as Manchester United set-piece coach. We are the only team in the league yet to score from a set-piece. Okay, should we keep going? 86 corners Manchester United have had. 86 corners and failed to score. From that sort of position, when you've got people with the aerial ability of Cavani and Ronaldo in the team and the passing and crossing ability of half of our squad, it's absolutely, abjectly not good enough. Now, what's that down to? What are the factors that come into play with scoring from dead balls, set pieces, standards, as the Germans call them? What's the strategy? What's the setup? What's the spacing? What's the personnel? What's the progressed movements? What's the delivery? Desire, directness, these sorts of things. Manchester United's setup at corners looks, as corners especially, looks like there is a plan in place. You can see things happening. There is a plan. That plan has been ineffective so far. Now, to start, midway through the season, I implemented my own sort of strategy at set pieces. And without giving it too much away, because I don't know how many opposition watch what we do, and it is definitely some, we have an A ball, a B ball, and a C ball. And the setup for all three is the same. It's just communicated differently. And each of those does something different. But the starting position is exactly the same. Now, we've called an A ball, which is to go into a certain area of the pitch, and we have dummy runs that are to go to another area of the pitch, of the box, which take people away deliberately to clear a route for the other guy. That's what we do. We have blocking runs, we have dummy runs, we have clearance runs, and then we have what is our target run. Now, here's the thing. Unless you've got David Beckham delivering a ball into the box, the ball's not always going to go into the area which you decide to put it in. So more often than not, we've scored more set pieces this season than we did last season by a country mile, especially corners. We're actually quite deadly from corners, Will in particular. But we've scored these because the dummy runs have ended up getting on the ball. Because we're running like we're going to get the ball's gone into their area, and because of the forward momentum of those players, we've ended up connecting and putting the ball in the back of the net, and the guy that was meant to be getting the ball has ended up being a dummy runner. And it's worked for us. We've still not necessarily cracked the code when it comes to defensive corners. We concede a little bit still from corners, nowhere near as bad as it was last season, but we still do occasionally concede from defensive corners. And I spoke to Rennie Mullenstein about this, and they had a very, very straightforward, easy to break down system. In a nutshell, there's one ball coming into the box. Get someone to get his head onto that ball, or your keeper has got arms this much longer than anybody's head. Your keeper comes out and claims it. United have only conceded from 4 set pieces in the league this season, which ranks us at 12th. In comparison, we conceded 7 all last season. So if you compare the data, not having a set piece coach and having a set piece coach who's just under half of the season to go makes fuck all difference. Haven't been able to account for the amount of volume of set pieces conceded versus this time last season. But for the eye test, United just aren't getting the first contact on balls. And we perform outswinging corners. Now, I would expect a set piece specialist whose entire job's fucking corners and throw-ins and this, that, and the other, I would expect somebody that's involved in doing set pieces your whole day. Wake up, throw-ins. Afternoon, corners. Tomorrow morning, defensive free kicks. Your whole job is analysing and putting together plans for set pieces. And you can use the same one every single time. Because as I said, the delivery is naturally going to deviate. If you've got dummy runners going into the right sort of zones, you'll be successful. In-swinging corners are statistically way more effective than outswinging corners, because the outswinging one always means that it has to skim past the goalkeeper a little bit on its way in. The outswinging ones, the in-swinging ones, sorry, can take the curve away and come into the danger zone. And quite often, if you aim for towards the back post, just with a shot, more on free kicks and on corners, it just being on target is half the battle dealt with. Usually isn't the case when it's an outswinger. You've already started clearing it for the opposition. The most peculiar statistic in all of this is that United lead the league in aerial duel percentage. Statistically, United are the best team. Statistically, United are the best team aerially. But it doesn't show up where it matters most. And that's in both boxes. And that's at set pieces. Pep Guardiola said he understood English football after watching a game. Did it end 5-4 or 4-4? And like 6 or 7 or 8 of the goals came from set pieces. And he said, I understood it. And he started taking set pieces seriously at Manchester City a few years ago on the back of watching whichever game that was. It was like Crystal Palace, West Brom, or someone of that ilk. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Set pieces at the top end of the table are something you have to master. A German football team used to look at them like they smelt funny. German football team used to look at set pieces as being what weak nations do, not what good nations do. Good nations should break you down by playing football. But when it's tight, when it starts getting to semi-final and final times, set pieces can be enough to get you over the line and turn a 0-0 to a 1-0. And Manchester United over the years have played some absolutely beautiful football. But if it wasn't for set pieces, we wouldn't have won the treble in 1999. You have to have a plan, and it can't include sending Peter Schmeichel up. You have to have a plan that makes you more effective and more efficient and gets Chris... Look, you've got Harry Maguire, right? For England, he manages to get himself onto stuff. For United, he doesn't. You've got Harry Maguire and Ronaldo. You've got two serious aerial threats, and yet we can't utilise either of those things in either box. I think Ramsay's failed. And that's all there is to say on that. It needs to fix up. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.